So what we know helps for mental health, for good emotional regulation, is that we have regular leisure and regular exercise. Thirdly, I like to talk to clients about social connection and leisure. As humans, we are hardwired to connect. Even if we have an introverted personality, there's a difference between being alone and being disconnected. The general rule of thumb for good mental health is that at least once to twice a week, we have change of scenery, so we're not at work or home, we are interacting with at least one other person, and we're not engaging in problem talk. There may be times when we need to turn to our social network to talk through problems that we're facing, but there are other times that we actually benefit from having something completely different, whether we're having a good conversation or having an activity that we enjoy that has nothing to do with the problems we're facing, so that we have a good mental break. Now, in COVID times, this is particularly challenging, in my opinion, that we do better when we actually can see the other person we're talking to. And thinking about what habits you got into last time with COVID, as we head into COVID in March and April and May, what are you going to do so that you are not retreating or disconnecting from your social gatherings? And lastly, I like to include in the self-care conversations that I have with clients are about exercise. So I call this the Forrest Gump effect. We all remember in that movie how after all of the stress that had built up for Forrest, he started running to the end of the driveway, and then he ran to the end of the road, and then, by the end of that, I was like literally running across country. So there's something really key about the release of endorphins, the increase of energy we get from exercising. It can be very hard to do this. I often call this the mechanical functioning step out of depression and anxiety, where we don't feel like doing it yet, but we push ourselves to do it because we know we will feel better at the end. In fact, that works for all of the self-care that I'm talking about in the video today. But for exercise, we start small. The minimal recommendation for good mental health is a 20-minute outdoor walk every day. In fact, there's been good brain science research that talks to us about the benefits of outdoor walking. They say that the chemical compound of sweat, same as with tears. So if we have a good cry, or we have a good run, or we've sweated out at the gym or in our home workouts, then we will it will take us to a place where we can have different types of thoughts. So I will close with this. What are you prepared to do for your physical and mental health as we get into later fall and into winter? What are the habits you want to break from the earlier parts of COVID? Let's consider sleeping podcasts. What kind of menu planning do you need to get in place now so that your eating habits are cleaner and better than it was earlier this year? What kind of home projects can you invest in to have positive distractions and having a soothing environment if we are going to be spending more time indoors and at home this winter? Do you need a relapse prevention plan to look at your drug and alcohol habits so that you are not overindulging? And lastly, how can you get more creative with your exercise routines? If you aren't going to the gym, if you need to work out at home, if you can't go outside because the weather's too cool, what kind of resources and ideas do you need to put in place so that you can move your body every day? Take care, and thanks for listening.